Welcome back to the All Chat podcast. My name is Jack Dawes. I'm joined by Grayson Yada. How are you doing?
I'm great, Jack. How are you doing?
It's been a good week of League of Legends, just like
It has.
every week.
Yep.
Yeah,
Sounds like we're kind of like a broken record here, but I mean, that's how it is every week. Every week's a good week of League of Legends, so.
every week that you get to watch League of Legends is a good week of League of Legends.
Exactly. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And this week was no exception. We got the LEC Finals this weekend. Oh my gosh.
that's really the big news because
Yeah.
the rest of the world. I mean, we had LCK and LPL games going on, but there's not too much to talk about there. They went more or less as you'd expect, and then of course LCS is on break. But LEC, that's where the big money is right
Bangers
now.
only over there.
Bangers only. What a weekend!
Yeah.
Let's just start right with Fnatic and MDK. We talked about this last week. We said it was going to be a banger. It was an absolute banger.
It was a
It,
banger.
no one knew which way it was going to go until the very end, which that that was the most fun to me, is that it wasn't like super one-sided, like, oh, it's 100% going to go to this team, it's 100% going to go to this team. Like, they're taking games off each other back and forth, and even in the last game, like, it wasn't totally clear who was going to take it. I think, MDK ended up running away with it kind of at the end, but what a good series.
Yeah, that was unreal. We knew that it was going to be a fist fight for sure, and that
It
was
always
that was
is.
scrappy too. I mean, MDK Fnatic, like we've seen throughout the season, it is always scrappy, and we
Yeah.
got that in that series. I honestly didn't get to watch too much of it live, and I didn't see too much of it afterwards either. I was caught up in that Adam news, but I'd love to
Yeah.
hear your thoughts on just the MDK Fnatic series and what you took away from it.
Yeah, I'm looking through it right now. I thought game 4 was really interesting. It was a really hectic game. I think it was one of the more back and forth games. Just an interesting fact about that game that I noticed while I was watching, there was 2 flame horizons in the game
Uh huh.
on opposite teams. So Mirwin at one point had 100 CS more than Oscar did, and just after that, Humanoid hit 100 CS over Frescowi.
Oh wow.
So it was just interesting to see both teams hit it in one game,
Yeah.
against each other. Like different laners hitting it against each other. So
Hmm.
that that was just kind of a random thing that happened, but I thought that was interesting to see. Not even like not just in like one series, but in one game.
Yeah. I think that's the story with Mad so far. They've been able to like fight through everything. Like it doesn't matter what type of leads that they do or don't have, what type of leads they
Yeah,
have against them. They're just willing to put up a battle. Like they're never
yeah.
out of it.
And
So,
they're playing all kinds of stuff too, especially like when you look at Mirwin's picks. They continue to be a little like all over the place because he's
uh-huh.
playing the standard stuff. Like in games 4 and 5, he played, oh wait, no, he played Gnar in game 4 and he played Cassante in game 5. But then he also had in that same series a Varus game, a Gwen game, and an Akali game.
Oh
So
yeah.
he's playing the standard stuff. Gnar is kind of coming back into the meta. He's still playing that, but then he's still picking his like signature
Pocket
range
pig.
top pocket pick, whatever you want to call it at this point,
Yeah.
and he's playing him really well, which is super fun to watch.
Yeah, I think that whole team synergy, like just as a whole, they have this energy kind of feel to them where it's kind of like individual players who are able to take their game to the next level when it matters. And I think that's
Yeah,
kind of what we saw out of energy last year. I'm seeing a lot of parallels there, especially for a team that was definitely counted out to see
yeah,
this run that they went on this past weekend. It all starts from each individual player. And I think
yeah.
Myrwan's no exception of that for being, that type of player who can pull out something that'll change the entire series or change the entire game, put it on its head.
Yeah, I think Frescowi really stepped up. He stepped up this whole playoffs, but especially this weekend too. In the game 3, a lot of people were really praising him for his Gragas. So he picked Gragas mid, and he pretty much won them the game by himself with this pick. He was flanking constantly. He was playing around vision like perfectly.
Oh
He was just
wow.
always in little pockets of vision that Fnatic didn't have warded up. And it was just team fight after team fight and pick after pick where he was the difference maker. And it's been really cool to see his progression over the course of the split, because I remember talking about him at the start of the split and even maybe at the start of playoffs a little bit and saying like, I think Frescowi is the weak point. I'm not sold on this guy. I don't love the way that he plays. And now I'm like, it's hard to pick one person and go, they're the weak point. They're
Mhm.
all playing so well. And I
Yeah.
think Friscawi especially has, at least he should have silenced the haters that he had throughout the year, including me, right?
Mhm.
Like, he is the guy that I think turned my opinion of him the most,
Oh
because
wow.
even since the start of the split, I thought Mirwin's playing some weird stuff, not sure it's good, but looks pretty good, looks decent. And I was always kind of like, not really sure, but I think it's probably good. And then Supa and Alvaro, I was sold. Elyoya, I was sold. And
Mhm.
Friscawi, I was like, nah. And then he really turned it around, and now I think he's just a top 3 mid laner, probably caps humanoid in him, I would guess. I mean, Nuke's up there too. I don't know, but he's really good. He's
Yeah.
really come into his own and has actually been a huge difference maker for this team.
Yeah, his progression has been unreal. Just seeing how he's been playing this past weekend, you could tell that he feels a little more confident. He knows that he can hang up in the LEC. You can just tell that throughout this whole series, especially come playoff time, he's really stepped up his game and he's come into his own in that regard.
Yeah, and I thought Elyoya had a good weekend, as I was expecting him to. I think Supa and Alvaro continue to perform well, and then, like we said, Mirwin continues to play these crazy picks and play well on them. But I think the interesting series to talk about is the BDS series. I
Yeah.
think that's where we need to spend a bulk of the time, because that was the one that was so different than what we expected.
Yeah. Bombshells a day before the series.
Yeah.
Adam is not playing. He's been benched. And Gen X
So
is in.
before we even get into the series, how much have you heard about what happened with Adam?
Honestly, I'd say I'm more up to date with what happened with Adam than the series itself.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you want to give some context to people who maybe haven't heard about what happened?
Yeah. So basically, from what I understand, Adam was benched for behavioral issues.
Mm-hmm.
He got into a heated argument with his head coach. This has been a recurring problem, it seems like, since last year, and it reached its breaking point. It's so strange that they picked the weekend of the winter finals for the benching. Like something must
Yeah.
have really obviously it sounded like there was an argument this past week that really set them over the edge, but that's still a pretty crazy move to pull right
Yeah.
before the winter final. Um, Adam seems like he's trying to turn over a new leaf here, come back for the spring split. But yeah, it was a really strange thing. It was a definitely bombshell of a piece of news right there to come out right before the winter final.
Yeah, the timing of it was, you have to assume that because of the timing, that it had to either be a much bigger deal than what people are discussing on social media, because
Mhm.
both Adam and Stryker, the coach, have come out with statements kind of downplaying it, saying it wasn't that big of a deal. But, right before the semifinals, and you're benching a player when your team is like clearly second best in the league at least, and so clearly you have a shot at making finals, and all of a sudden you bench a player. To me, that's either the issue was much bigger than people are saying it was, or it was a thing where, one take that I've heard is that Stryker might have made the choice to bench him because he could see Adam weaponizing it in the future. If he didn't bench him there, then all of a sudden, the week before playoffs becomes like an opening for Adam to not really keep
Like,
his behavior in check.
uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden, every like week before playoffs, or like week before whatever, like whenever he can find an opening like that where he knows he won't get benched, then he doesn't have to keep his behavior in check. So some people were saying he did it because if he hadn't, then it would become that like window of opportunity. And I think the only other explanation is that it's a much bigger deal what happened than what people are letting on.
Yeah, I mean, as a head coach, you do have to set that precedent, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I play hockey. For me, if you do something bad, if you talk back to your coach, mess up. Like, if you mess up, that's fine, right? Everyone makes
Yeah.
mistakes. But if you're, flaming your teammates, if you're talking back to the coach, that's where you're going to see the bench. And that's clearly what we saw there. You do have to set that precedent. And I think you're right. I didn't see anything like that take wise, but it makes a lot of sense because I mean, who knows if you just enable it, who knows what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah. But getting into the series a little bit, we had talked last week, and I said specifically, I think G2 is going to 3-0 anyone that comes to them. I think BDS is going to 3-0 anyone that comes to them. And I think MDK versus Fnatic is going to be a banger. So got all of that wrong, except for the MDK versus Fnatic part. But, coming into the series, it was like, I think it was pretty common. It was a pretty common feeling in the community that BDS was like pretty clearly the second best team. And even if not everyone thought that they would 3-0 Fnatic or Mad, I'm pretty sure that like the general consensus was they're at least going to beat them.
Mhm.
And I think if they had Adam, that probably still would have been true. But I want to give a lot of credit to Gen X because he coming into a situation like that, especially when a player is benched for flaming his own teammates right before a big game, you bring up your academy top laner. Granted, he's played in the LEC before, so he has some experience, but he comes up with like probably less than a week of practice, and then to perform the way that he did on stage, I thought Gen X had a pretty great performance overall considering the situation.
Oh yeah, I thought he looked fine. He looked like an LEC top laner in that series. If I'm being honest, yeah. I mean, obviously losing Adam's a huge piece for BDS, but Gen X came in, stepped up, and I mean, I think after the Adam news broke, the consensus was definitely Mad's gonna smoke BDS.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Adam was definitely a central piece of that BDS team, and to lose him the day before, that's definitely not going to be good for the team mental.
No,
but for
and
Gen
again,
X
we
to
had
come
talked
in,
about this before, but what we were saying before is like this team functions off the back of Nuke and Adam, and like I had brought it up before that when those two are carrying, that's where I trust this team the most. So to lose one of the two central pieces, we've seen that Ice can get kills and carry games. He's had games like that before, but to me, my biggest confidence in this BDS team is when Adam and Nuke are carrying. So to lose half that carry potential is a big hit for the team. But then I thought Gen X coming in, I actually thought that he wasn't the biggest problem on the team. It really seemed like he actually played fine. It wasn't that there was like some monstrous gap in the top lane. It seemed more of like a team morale thing. And like, honestly, I thought Nuke had a really bad series, and I'm guessing that's because of everything that's going on in the team right now. I know Nuke and Adam are pretty good friends. So it really felt more like a team cohesion and like team morale thing than it did a Gen X thing, which is good credit to him and respect to him for coming in and playing the way that he did again. So
yeah, and honestly, big ups to BDS too. You got to feel for the other 4 players of that team. You go through the entire split and you lose one of your top players. For them to also step up, I mean, obviously Nuke maybe didn't have the best series, but they took it to 5 games, which is that's impressive in its own right, because I don't think a lot of people had that series going to Silver Scrapes.
No, it's after the Adam news. No, I don't think so.
So big ups to everyone else on BDS for being able to step up in that situation as well. Yeah, you can tell that team, they're still a solid team, for being able to pull out a few wins in that semifinal. But it's one of those things where it was definitely out of their control, that game or that match.
Yeah, it really looked like again the meme of like do something, like the poking the dead thing was like, oh, do something. That was what the first 2 games felt like. It felt pretty much like they got rolled over the first 2 games, but then they came back in a big way in game 3 and 4, and a lot of that credit to me goes to Ice. I thought he had a really good, especially games 3 through 5. I thought all 3 of those games from Ice were really impressive, and I thought he was doing pretty much everything he could to carry that BDS squad. So credit to Ice, credit to Gen X, and then, just unfortunate series for BDS, and hopefully we see them back and kicking again next split.
Yeah, it sounds like Adam's going to be back on the roster for the spring split, so
I'd hope so.
Expect them to do well. Who knows how all this news coming out is going to affect the whole team, but I think having Adam back is definitely going to be what takes them over the edge next split.
Yeah.
But
you want to jump into
the final
MDK and G2?
Yeah, that was unreal. honestly, that was such a fun series to watch.
Yeah,
We
little
got to
content game at the start for G2 into the 3-0.
yeah, yeah, but it wasn't like a hard 3-0 to me.
Yeah.
Like well, from that point, yeah, like I thought Mad Koi was in games 3 and 4. I think it was 3 and 4.
Right. Yeah, because game one was the MDK came out swinging. They took the first game. Game
Mhm.
two, G2 looked like they took that super personally.
Yeah,
And they came back and just absolutely smoked them. And then, yeah, game three and game four were a lot closer. But
yeah,
I thought, yeah, game two was a pretty good stomping.
yeah. Game 1 was super fun too. We got Simiron on
Yeah.
the Yasuo. That Yasuo Zach combo is crazy with the knockup.
I like it. I like
Yeah,
these picks. I like the
I know.
combo. I like seeing Zach. That was sick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially they're able to flex it. I mean, I
Yeah.
think I heard the commentators are like, is that a Zach support? Is that a Zach top?
That's right.
And then it ended up going to Ilyoya in the jungle, and I was like, this looks like a crazy pick.
Yeah.
Obviously, it didn't work too well for them the next game, but
Not so much, but
yeah,
G2 is angry too, so you
yeah,
have to deal with
yeah,
that.
yeah. Don't get G2 mad. I guess that's the moral of the series.
Yeah, this is my favorite kind of League of Legends, though, is when you have drafts that are like this flexible, which is why I love this Mad Koi team so much. It's why everyone loves G2, obviously, because they've been doing this forever. But
Yeah,
the reason I love this Mad Koi team is because they're doing the same thing and they're playing out these really creative, flexible drafts, which is so cool to see. I love going into a draft and not knowing exactly where each pick is going to go when it's picked. I think
yeah,
that is such an underrated skill from a team because
yeah,
so many drafts you see people pick flex picks in like the first three, but then like maybe like the first two picks are flex or something like that, and then the third pick that they make just like cements what lanes all three are going to go into, and it's like, well, that's not really a flex anymore. Then
yeah,
you've picked
yeah,
flex picks and then you've told us exactly where they're going to go. But MDK wasn't doing that as much. They were like truly like, even the commentators down to the end were like, no, this is going to be a Zach support, and it ended up being
yeah,
Rel support Zach jungle. So I love that. I love their drafting.
yeah.
I love the picks that they're making. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's super entertaining. That was like the matchup that we wanted to see, the G2 Mad drafts, and
Yeah.
I'd say we got a pretty good taste of what's to come in the future here from Mad and G2.
Yeah, no, I'm super happy with the way it turned out. I'm really glad it ended up being a Mad Koi and G2 final.
Yeah, I mean, okay, we got to talk about Ilyoya versus Yike because that matchup went crazy. I thought that matchup went crazy throughout the whole series.
Yeah.
Ilyoya looked silly in game 1.
Yeah.
Then Yike took over in those games 3 and 4 for sure, but it wasn't like Ilyoya was just smurfing or not smurfing, but feeding either.
Right. Yeah, and you can't forget about the Yike pentakill in game 4. That was crazy. That's the last person to do that was Inspired when he was on Rogue.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah.
On the Lilia too.
I know. And it was right when the stream broke too.
Oh,
we missed the whole thing.
Really? I didn't know that the stream broke because I was just watching the highlights. But that's
okay.
that's
wait,
brutal.
yeah. So let me give you some context on this.
Yeah,
I was watching it live, and right before that fight happened, the entire screen went black. No sound, no video. It was just a black screen being streamed for like 5 minutes, probably something like maybe even longer than that. And then they finally got it back. They didn't have audio for a little bit, and then once they got the audio and everything back online, they cut to a replay of the Yike pentakill. But right before that happened, it was black for like 5 minutes.
Shit. That's brutal.
It was brutal.
But
yeah,
that's still hype. That was so sick. And then Supa too. I felt bad for him that entire last game because my goodness was he fed, and Miron kind of got gapped. He didn't kind of get gapped. He got gapped pretty hard by BB in the top lane, and there's nothing Supa could do from that when you have a fed Gragas on the other team.
Sometimes BB just gets in this place where he's like, I'm just going to be the one who makes us win this series. I don't know what, like, he's always a consistent top laner. He's always a good top laner. He's been having a really good split. But then sometimes, like, there's a reason he was finals MVP for this set of games because he just gets into this place where he's like, okay, well, like, I'm just going to take over and we're just going to win these games. And he absolutely did that. I thought
Yeah.
like this split has been the story of BB and Caps. I thought we've had splits before where like Hansama was the one who's been absolutely dominating, and the other ones have taken a back seat. But this split has been all Caps and BB, and Broken Blade just in the finals was like, okay, all right, I'm not okay with losing game one. We're taking the series, and he just put the team on his back.
Yeah, he looked insane. I think he had like a 3 or 4 level lead over Miro in that final game.
I didn't even notice that. That's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, tough to be Mirwin on that one, but I mean, BB BB just comes to play when it's crunch time. I remember in that wave, I think it was that Weibo series at Worlds when he played that Yone.
Oh
Like
yeah,
he just took over that game as well. So that those flashes aren't just in the LEC; it's
yeah.
internationally too, and you can tell that he comes to play for those big games.
And that's the scary thing about G2 is that they can just turn it on and compete at a level that's so much higher than like anyone in the LEC
Mm-hmm.
to a point where it's competitive with other world's competitors.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the story of LEC, right? G2 is always going to be the one at the end. It's kind of like T1 and Faker with the LPL.
Yeah.
All roads lead to G2 in the LEC.
Yeah, they're the raid bosses for sure.
Yeah.
There was some graphic of trophies, like how many trophies teams have gotten since G2 was in the league. And I think it
Uh-huh.
was something like since G2 joined the LEC, they've got 13 trophies, I think. And since they joined the league, all other teams combined have gotten 6. So they've over doubled the number of trophies. If those are the right numbers, I might be wrong,
Yeah.
but they've over doubled the number of trophies that every other team combined has gotten since they've joined the league. So these guys are
That's
just absolutely the raid boss.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think they're gonna turn some heads at MSI too with their flexes and just
Yeah,
how they've been playing. I think once everyone's kind of up to speed, obviously everyone's a solid player on that team. I think
yeah,
once those guys are going, you gotta give it like a T1, I'm comparing them only because they've kept the same roster for like multiple years now, and
I was just going to say
that's
that.
pretty rare in League of Legends,
Super
especially or
rare.
esports in general.
Yeah,
And I think that time to develop, you're really seeing it now. Like there really wasn't anybody that came close in the LEC,
no,
and I think that's just what happens when you have a year under your belt. I mean, look at Mad Koi. They're a team that most of their team played together for the entire year,
yeah,
and they did this well. BDS, same thing, almost the
yeah.
entire same team.
That's
So
interesting. Yeah, the 3 teams at the top are all teams that in some way or another had most of the same pieces. I know like Mad Koi was actually like only one of the 5, but the
yeah,
other like 4 or like the other a few of the other people on their team had like all played together before this and then just moved up together. And then you look at
hmm
BDS, they made 1 change, and G2 that made 0. So
yeah,
hey, maybe people look at that and they say, hey, we should actually keep our rosters together and not make changes after every single goddamn split.
yeah. I mean, you look at any other sport, guys get locked in for long term contracts.
Years.
You build a
Yeah.
core, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I get some teams, they build their core around 1 or 2 guys, but
Mm-hmm.
who says that building around 3 or 4 isn't the right play? Because it's clearly working in the LEC.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I'm just
Yeah,
really glad that G2 kept this roster together from last year. I think if they
yeah,
hadn't kept it together and if it was new players, it would not be we might not be seeing the same results, and it wouldn't be as fun to watch and as exciting as it is to see the same 5 run it back. The same way it's, really interesting to see what will happen with T1. That same
hmm
level of interest is with G2, I think too.
yeah. I mean, as fans, you get to kind of build up that connection. You like seeing certain guys on certain teams, and G2 is one of those teams where it's like I like seeing every single player where they are, and I'm
Yeah.
excited to see how they move forward as a team internationally.
So we're kind of running low on LAC stuff now, but before we move on, I got to give a quick shout out
Uh-huh.
to what I think it's Shakarez on Twitter. He is a guy who does a lot of content for the LEC.
Uh-huh.
I think he's the one who either makes the pop quiz videos or helps make the pop quiz videos. And over the weekend, he was tweeting out like what teams he thought would win the series and all that, and he got every single one wrong the entire time. And he actually, I think he's gotten every prediction wrong since last weekend.
Oh
So
wow.
I think he's gone 2 weeks straight of getting every single prediction wrong or something like that. I have screenshots. I'll send them to you. Maybe we can put them in the final video. But shout out to that guy for being so in there on getting every single prediction wrong. It was really
If you're
funny to
looking
watch.
if you're looking to bet on League of Legends, just fade this guy.
Yeah.
Take everything that he's picking and go the other team.
Oh, 100%. Just watch him and do the opposite.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
wild. I mean, that's impressive in its own right. You have to be. Yeah. That was
Yeah.
what, like 0-7?
Something like that. It's something close to that. Yeah.
Nice.
He even at one point it was during the BDS series when Mad won the first 2 games. He tweeted something like, "This is looking like a quick 3-0. I'm going to go to the store," or something like that. And he came back and the BDS had won the next 2 games. And it's like, man, like, you can't catch a break.
So he's just jinxing everyone then.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's what it seems like. You know, if he tweets, hashtag your team win, then may the odds be ever in your favor, because good luck.
Get this guy off Twitter then.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
So
oh man,
credit to him.
So I know we were just talking about a lot of the rosters and how keeping some of these guys together has been kind of the secret formula for some of these teams. What I want to do is I want to talk about some individual players on teams throughout all 4 regions, and I kind of want you to rank them in terms of their chances of making it to Worlds. So I have specific players on specific teams.
Interesting. Okay.
And I want you to rank them, or at least give like a yes or no. Are they going to make it to Worlds?
Like, is the team going to make it to Worlds?
The team, yeah. But a lot of it stems from these individual players. So you'll see once I start naming these guys off.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. So first off, we got junglers.
Okay.
We got Elyoya with his group of misfits and Mad Koi. Are they going to make Worlds?
I say, how many seeds? They get 3 now? We get 3, and we're getting rid of that 4th seed battle already. 3. Are they going to be top 3 at the end of the year? I'm going to say yes. I think so. I think I'm already impressed that they took a game off G2 in this finals. I'm impressed that they got to this finals, and I think they only get better over the year. I say yes. Yeah.
Okay. I think I'd agree with you on that. I was pretty impressed with how they've been performing lately, and I think Elyoya and the rest of the rookies are just going to keep on stepping up and growing as a team.
And the other part of that too is that I've just been pretty unimpressed with the rest of the LEC. So I don't see another team like this top 4 that we're looking at: Fnatic, Mad, BDS, and G2. Like, those are the 4 teams I'm looking at, and I'm pretty unimpressed with all the rest of the teams. So I don't see a lot of them like stepping up and taking that spot from Mad right now. I mean, maybe Fnatic does, but I think Mad makes it.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you there. All right, we got Cuz with his new bot lane and KDF.
That's a tough. Do they make Worlds? Because LCK gets 4 seeds.
4 seeds. So it comes down to 6 teams for the playoffs. So you can assume it's going to be T1, Genji, HLE, KT, KDF, and Damwon, all kind of in that mix.
Man, unless Damwon really gets it together, they are not making Worlds. They're looking not good.
Yeah.
I never want to count Damwon all the way out because it's Damwon and his Showmaker. But I don't have a lot of faith in them right now. So the question is, are they 3rd, 4th, 5th, or are they 3rd, 4th, or are they 5th?
Yeah.
T1 makes it, Genji make it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's Hanwha, KT, and Kwangdong in my mind. I mean, I guess technically FearX is there too. They're kind of in that mix, but I don't think FearX makes it. I would have Kwangdong making it over FearX. So the question is, do they make it over either HLE or KT? Wow, that's tough.
It's so hard because of how they've been performing this split. Like, they look unreal.
They do. I really want to say yes. I really want this team to make worlds. Uh, I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I think when push comes to shove, that HLE and KT are gonna take it over them. I think if they do go to worlds, I I think KT is the one who doesn't make it.
Okay.
I
Okay.
I
Yeah.
hate that because I love KT, but it would be a very KT thing to not make worlds and have this Kwangdong team make worlds. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna say no, but if they do, it's beating out KT.
Okay. I think, yeah, couldn't have said it better myself.
Oh yeah, you think
Yeah,
the
it's
same thing?
pretty much the exact same thing. I think it's really going to come down to KDF and KT. I think HLE's probably got that on lock.
Yeah,
I think Daewon is probably going to be the sixth team.
yeah.
So I think it depends on how these guys keep on playing throughout the rest of the year. But I love this team so much, so I had to throw them in there. And I think Cuz
Yeah.
is definitely the biggest piece of that.
No, that's a good one. That's a banger question because that's really the question right now is how
Yeah.
is this Guangdong team going to be? Okay,
Yeah.
what else you got?
All right, so I got Weiwei on LNG,
Hmm.
whose entire team is underperforming, but it's LNG.
So here's the thing. I don't know as much about the LPL as I do about the other regions, so I'm not
Mhm.
as confident answering this. I'm going to check the standings right now real quick just to
If
see
you
where
want
we're
the
at.
quick one, they're 2-3 right now.
And they're in 10th.
Mm-hmm.
That's not great. And their competition for the top four is BLG, NIP, JDG, IG, Top, Weibo. Even WE is 4-2 right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
You don't think
I
so?
I think that I think they're one of the teams that underperforms this year. I think there's too much competition at the top. I think BLG is going to make it. I think JDG pretty much has to make it. I think Top is going to make it, and then I think it's going to go NIP, IG, or Weibo probably would be there,
Yeah.
but before LNG is.
Okay. Okay. Because that's like
What are your thoughts?
preseason. You think of who the top four teams in the LPL are. LNG is
Yeah,
100% in there, and the
yeah,
fact that they're sitting in 10th right now, it's I want like obviously their entire team is underperforming. That's like the
right.
biggest thing for them. As far as making it to Worlds, next split is a brand new split, but right now I'm not convinced by this team. Like
No,
I don't even think that they could beat well, I don't think they could beat NIP right now. Like
wow.
and I don't think NIP is really in that up like they're upper echelon, but they're not in the top 4 to me.
Okay. Yeah, because you
So,
had said before that NIP is not as good as their score says they are.
yeah. So I think yeah, for me, I don't have these guys making it to Worlds either. Like
How
they're one of
crazy is
those
that?
guys where it's a super team,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I You never know because Weibo had the exact same thing happen to them where they were just underperforming the entire split and they made the World Finals.
That's
So
true.
you never know. But right now, I am not convinced by LNG.
Yeah. I would like to see them make worlds, I think. I would like to see LNG make worlds, but I don't have a lot of faith right now.
Yeah, me neither. And then,
Yeah.
okay, the final jungler I have, we have to go to the LCS and we have to talk about another vet who's just with a team of young guys. We got River and 100 Thieves.
Oh, okay. That's not where I thought you were going to go. When you were talking, I thought you were going to go to. I thought you were just
Inspired,
going to throw.
right?
No, I thought you were going to throw Blabber's name in my
Oh,
face. I thought
okay,
you were going to
okay.
make me decide on the C9 team right now. I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah.
Okay. River and 100 Thieves. Do they make worlds? That's the question.
Mm-hmm.
And we get 3 seeds
Three
from
seeds.
North America. So we're looking at our top 6 right now. We'll just rattle them off real quick. FlyQuest, 100 Thieves, Team Liquid, NRG, Cloud9, Dignitas, with Shopify and Immortals at the bottom. So, okay, here's my process of elimination. I'm feeling good about FlyQuest, unless they have some similar collapse to last year's FlyQuest, which,
Uh-huh.
knock on wood, I really hope
Yeah.
they don't. That'd be crazy if that
Yeah.
happened.
Then maybe
If
it's
we
a
see
FlyQuest thing.
if it's a FlyQuest thing, then I'm never trusting this team ever again.
Yeah.
If FlyQuest doesn't like make worlds at this point, I am never trusting this team again. So I think FlyQuest make it. I think that they're looking really good. I would like to believe that Cloud9 make it, but I think they have a lot of work to do before that
Mhm.
happens. So the question is, who's the third team that makes it? I don't have a lot of faith in Team Liquid still. I think that they can be good, but I just see the other teams having higher ceilings than they
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
I think NRG is more likely to make it than Team Liquid is. So really, to me, the question is, like, I'm a C9 fanboy. I'm just gonna say that C9 makes it, even though like that's a little
Who
delusional at
knows?
this point. Who knows? So in my mind, it's like who's that other spot that's making it, and it's 100 Thieves or NRG. Oh, and is it 100 Thieves? Because here's the thing: if I say it's 100 Thieves, then we're just doubting NRG again,
Yeah.
and maybe they just get the boost and then qualify first again or something like that. But this 100 Thieves team looks legit. I know people have concerns about Sniper. He looks really good, but I think Bwepo had that interview saying that he's a fraud.
Mhm.
River is always good. I'm really high on Quid right now.
Yeah.
I think
Even
Meech is pretty good, not as
yeah,
good as Masu.
he's top 4 or maybe 5 out of 80.
Yeah. I mean, he's better than Berserker right now. Berserker's playing bad, I think. So I think right now he's better than Berserker. I don't know exactly where I'd rank him. Probably top 4. I think Ayla is playing pretty well. Do I believe that they'll go to Worlds? That's the question. I feel like it's so bad if I say no. I think no.
No.
I think I'm going to say no. I know that's like really scandalous, especially because they're like a strong second place right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think by the time we get back to the end of the year, they're not going to make it, which hurts to say because I want them to.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
What do you think?
Right. I think they have a chance. I think they definitely have the upper edge right now over Team Liquid. But I do think it's pretty close between them and Energy. I feel like Energy is just going to pull some stuff out of their back pocket and just like, yeah, guys, doubt us again.
Man, they got to though, because there's like legit reason to doubt them right now. They look bad.
They don't look good.
0-4. No, they just look like they're falling down the standings because they're playing worse. Them and Cloud9 don't look good right now. So it's like you have every reason to doubt both of those teams. Mm-hmm. I think if Worlds was tomorrow or Worlds was next week or whatever, 100 Thieves 100% make it. But by the end of the year, I have faith that NRG and Cloud9 will pull it together and contend with FlyQuest.
Okay.
Maybe
there
I'm
you
delusional.
go. Yeah.
I'm probably delusional. But we'll see.
We don't know. These are just way too early Worlds predictions. But they're just fun to do because I don't know. Some of these teams and players are just so fun to watch. You know?
Yeah. No, that was good. I like that. That was fun. I guess we'll check back in on these at the end of the year and see how delusional or not delusional I am.
Yeah, I do have a few more. Okay, so I got another one. I'll go through all of them, and then you can rank them. And you can tell me who do you think is going to have the most impact on their team and who do you think is going to have the least impact on their team.
Okay, cool. Let's do it.
And the theme of this one is familiar faces and new spaces.
Oh, I like it. Wow, you're getting creative with it. I like it.
Oh, yeah. So we got Mako on top esports.
Okay.
We got Jojo Pune on C9.
Okay.
We have okay, so this one's kind of troll because I didn't really have anyone for the LEC, but I said Adam coming off the bench.
Okay.
And then Piosik on KT.
Okay. And I'm ranking them in terms of how much impact are they going to have on the success of the team?
Yes, exactly.
And is it specifically related to Worlds or just like in general the success
just in
of the
general.
Team?
Yeah, like think for their region.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what here are my gut instincts. I hear Jojo. Right now, my opinion is that he is a huge difference maker for the team. Mm-hmm. So my instinct is to put him near the top. I hear Adam coming back onto BDS. How much of a difference is that going to make? It's kind of hard to say because it's like they were playing really well with him, then they played bad without him because it was like a weird
situation.
Weird situation where it seemed like the whole team's synergy stuff was not working, and like it was this really sudden change. So it's like, if Gen X stays on the team, will they be able to build that up? Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So Adam, I'm not sure on yet. You said Mako and Piosik, right?
Yeah.
Pyosik is playing like Canyon all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been a huge player for the. Wow, this is hard.
Yeah.
And then Mako, I don't know as much about Mako, but I was impressed with him in the top esports series that we talked about last week.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put Mako at the bottom. I'm gonna put Mako fourth, just
Okay.
because I see the value that he brings to the team, but I don't think like in terms of how these individual players interact with the rest of their team, I don't think that he is like so much of a standout difference maker for top that he's like higher than these other players on these teams. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think he is an incredible player, and I think that he's like an upgrade from before, and he's putting in the work. But I don't think he's like the prime difference maker on top. So I'm going to put him fourth.
Okay.
Third, man, I'm going to put. It would feel weird to put Adam third because we just talked about how much of a difference maker he is for this team. I'm gonna. So maybe I won't then. Maybe I won't. Maybe what I'll do, I want to put like all three of JoJo, Adam, and Pyoshi. You picked really good players
in one
tier. I want to put them up at the top, but I'm not going to do that. Because I think Pyosik is probably the best performing player on KT right now.
Mm-hmm. I agree there.
I don't think that he has to be the one that carries it because they have players like Deft and Beryl, who sometimes just plays really well.
BDD too.
BDD, yeah, and Perfect has been looking good. So I don't think he like Perfect hasn't been looking that good, but he's been looking okay. So I don't think he like has to be the difference maker, but I think he is right now. But for that like same reason as Mako, I'm going to put him third. I think.
Okay.
Just because
there's other pieces that can help carry the load.
Yeah, and then I think I'm going to put Adam 2 and JoJo 1. Because I think as it sits right now, JoJo is a huge part of C9's success. I think Blabber and Vulcan are not succeeding as a bot lane. Fudge is super hit or miss. And I think JoJo is the most consistent member right now. I think the way I would like to see him utilized, but I think JoJo is really like the standout right now. So I'm going to put JoJo 1. And then I'm going to put Adam 2 because I thought Gen X came in and was better than I expected. And I think Adam is a huge difference maker for this team, and he's like part of the flexibility. But I think there's a way that they could continue with Gen X and pivot a little bit and be okay.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
But I think Adam is like a really key piece of the way that they're playing now. So
I mean, he was a huge piece of their success this whole season, or this whole split. So
so I think I'll go JoJo, Adam, Pyosik, Mako.
Wow. Okay. So I actually had Mako a lot higher.
Okay.
So
tell me about it. Yeah.
I only have Mako higher because I feel like he's enabling Jackie Love to be performing at the level that he's at.
Okay.
And I think for top esports, that is probably one of the biggest reasons why they build their entire team around Jackie Love.
Yeah.
And to have a support that enables him to just carry games. And then his synergy with Tian is really solid too. I would have. I think for me, I can't even rank these guys. You know, it's really hard to rank.
You just made me rank them.
That's why I let you rank them. Exactly.
That's messed up. But you would have Mako higher.
I would have Mako higher. I think I would drop JoJo actually a little bit lower.
Okay.
Because in my opinion, I think that JoJo, he's a solid player, and he's the biggest piece right now. But if everybody else on the team starts picking up the slack, then he won't be the biggest piece. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So moving forward,
I can see that.
Like if Berserker and Vulcan do come online, then they might be the biggest, pieces for that team. I think at the end of the day, that's like a super team, right? Yeah. So one of those guys is going to end up carrying. Right?
Yeah.
So right now it might be JoJo.
You're kind of using the logic that I had for Mako in a similar way for JoJo, which I totally get.
Yeah. And then Adam, I had him second as well. And then Pyosik third. So I have the same thing, but flip-flopped.
Okay. So you did rank them.
Uh,
You made it happen
yeah, I did. I did.
against your will.
Yeah. It's so hard to rank those guys because all four of them are so impactful for their teams. That's like,
Yeah, that was a good question.
yeah.
That was, man, that was
these
tough.
are also really fun too. I
Yeah.
have a few other, so I don't have like ranking ones, but I have this other thing called What If.
Okay.
So this is also cross regional, but this one's really fun to start.
Let's do it.
What if Keenan and Broken Blade switch teams?
Okay. So,
Does G2
man.
still win Winter Finals? And does D Plus now become a playoff team or a Worlds team?
Okay. I have a question to throw back at you because I think
Uh-huh.
this is a little complicated.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Are we considering like language barriers?
No language barriers. They would just immediately slot in, and it's like by the play only.
So pretty much, if Kingen was playing the way Broken Blade is, and if Broken Blade is playing the way that Kingen is, more or less.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a better way of putting it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then does G2 still win Winter Finals, and does D plus
become a better
improve,
team?
become
Yeah.
a better team? I think D plus absolutely becomes a better team if you just switch the play of the two.
Yeah,
I
me
think
too.
absolutely. All of a sudden, you have someone in the top lane you can really count on. Because I think right now Kingen is pretty inconsistent.
Yeah.
Inconsistent to bad, kind of.
Yeah.
Which, he's on the lower side, I would say.
Yeah.
So I think absolutely, Damwon becomes a more competitive team. Does G2 still win winter playoffs
With Kingen, basically.
with Kingen?
Instead of BB. Because BB played such a big role in this winter final.
Yeah.
Kingen also has a history of coming to play in major games. So
he does.
Specifically finals.
Would a hypothetical Kingen level of play in a finals? Oh man. I think G2 still wins this finals because I think there is that chance that Kingen comes to play. We saw him do it at Worlds Finals. He absolutely came to play. He got Worlds Finals MVP 2 years ago, I guess now.
Yeah.
There is a history of him coming to play in big games. I think even without that, I don't know that he's enough of a liability that G2 would lose the series.
Okay.
You know, I think it would be closer. I think it'd be a 3-2 probably.
Okay.
But I don't know. I have so much faith in Caps, and I think Yike played so well that I think they would still win. It's tough though because Mickey kind of ran it,
especially in that game 4.
Especially in the game 4, and Hansama wasn't looking the best, so their bot lane was not. I thought probably Supa and Alvaro. I don't know if they might have played better that series. I don't know. I don't know if I want to put my foot down on that one.
Yeah, that's like that's like too hard to debate. I feel like.
I don't know if I want to throw my opinion in on that one yet.
Yeah.
So I don't know about that, but I thought Mickey X did not play super well the whole series, and especially in the game 4. I thought he didn't play that well. I thought Hansama could have played better, and then I think Caps, Yike, and Broken Blade all played really well.
Yeah.
I still think they win.
Okay.
I still think that happens. I think D plus improves, and I think G2 win.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think D plus does win, but I think G2 loses if they add.
D plus improves.
Yeah.
But G2 loses.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I think so. Obviously, Keenan does have the history of coming to play. But right now, he looks like an absolute bot, dude. So,
really?
Yeah. I think he would have gotten absolutely gapped by Mirwin.
Maybe I just haven't watched enough Kingen. Maybe I don't know how bad Kingen. Do you think he is like by far the worst piece on D plus right now?
That's tough to say. I'd say like
that's not a good sign.
I feel like all of them are just like, except for Showmaker.
Yeah.
But all of them are looking pretty rough. But Keenan just like finds ways to get picked off and to int. And I feel like
that's no good.
With Mad Koi picking Mickey off so many times, they would just find Keenan out so many times, like roaming, whatever. and
Yeah.
he would just get picked off, and that's a way bigger piece to lose than a Nautilus, you know.
Yeah, that's it. So then, can G2 win perma 3v5s? That's the
Yeah,
question,
I
right? And
guess. Yeah.
maybe not. Yeah.
But I thought that one was interesting because we do have an underperforming player and a player who's looking like one of the top laners in the world right
Yeah.
now.
Here's a real quick swing back to you.
Yeah.
Do you think that if BB, like, let's consider language barrier and everything, do you think if BB went and played, like, actually played on D plus, do you think they'd improve?
Language barrier side?
So we're not, no, like with
Or
language
I mean
barrier,
with
like,
language
yeah. So like
um
he actually goes and like goes and
Reckless.
plays in Kingan's place. Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you think D plus starts playing better?
It depends on how much D plus trusts his drafts. Because BB
Mm,
also has some crazy picks that you do not see in the LCK. LCK is a very
yeah.
standard draft, very by the book.
Unless you're Carrier.
Yeah, unless you're Carrier. That's tough. I feel like he could. I feel like D plus could be a better team.
Okay.
If even with all those other circumstances, because BB's, he's kind of been on an island. Like in these games, he's kind of on an island. I mean, he focuses mainly on that top matchup until the team fights happen. And team fighting, you just yell which guy you want to pick off. Like,
Yeah.
if they're fighting 2-1, okay, whatever. I don't know where I'm going with that, but I feel like
okay.
BB, if he jumps on D plus, playstyle alone makes them a better team. And the language barrier, I feel like they can kind of get away with because Showmaker knows a little bit of English.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
But just as a player himself, like that's such a big upgrade that I don't see how it wouldn't help the team.
Okay.
Even with the language barrier.
I can see it.
Because
Yeah.
the play speaks for itself sometimes,
Yeah. And here's the other thing. Hard to get a lot worse for D plus.
Exactly.
They're 2-5 or something like that.
Yeah,
3-5. Okay,
3-5. Yeah, but
my bad. But
those
like
3 wins are not against good teams.
yeah, they're. I mean, let's be honest. The bottom 3 of LCK are fairly uninspiring. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have any trust in NS, DRX, or OK Bro.
Yeah.
Like, saying that you're in the spot above those 3 teams or tied for the spot above those 3 teams,
not saying too much.
It's not saying a lot. So
Yeah.
it's hard to. It would be hard for BB to make it too much worse.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he would shake things up. Maybe that's what they need.
Yeah.
So
maybe it is.
Yeah.
Maybe they just need a Western top laner. Maybe they should talk to BB.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
What do I
mean,
know?
they already grabbed Reckless. Well, Reckless already made his way over to the LCK, kinda.
Yeah.
So
maybe
that's time to start seeing more imports. Yeah.
Is it going to happen? No. But
No, definitely
can
not.
we talk about it? Sure.
Yeah, it's always fun to talk about. These hypotheticals, always good for it.
Yeah.
And I do have one more hypothetical for you.
One more hypothetical. Okay.
Yes, it is a what if. And
All
it
right.
is what if Chovy and Quid swapped? What if Quid never left Genji and Chovy instead got imported by 100 Thieves?
100 Thieves drops the big bucks. They pull Chovy.
Yeah.
And Genji promote Quid.
Yeah.
What do we see happen?
In their current forms right now, is Genji still a 7-1 team? And does Chovy make 100 Thieves by far the best team in the LCS?
Wow. So, okay, if Chovy came over to the LCS, I think he would be like I think he would be one of the best imports that North America has ever seen. Like, we've had this discussion before with like Prince and some other imports, but importing Chovy is kind of like importing a faker.
Yeah,
right? Like they're clearly not the same. They're not on the same level, but like at an individual skill level, I think a lot of people would actually say Chovy is individually a higher skill player right now than Faker is. There's something to be said for like Faker's ability to, make his team, his macro play, all that. But like on a like individual skill basis, Chovy for the past couple of years has been like one of the top names in the world.
Yeah.
So I think Chovy comes over and is probably the best import LCS has ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
The
Does 100
question
Thieves
is,
just smurf on the LCS though?
but here's the problem, right? Is you like, here's how it would go. Right
Uh-huh.
out the gate, yes, he comes over. Doesn't matter what the communication looks like. Doesn't matter what the gameplay like. What any of that looks like. His individual skill is so much higher than every other mid laner in the LCS that
Mm-hmm.
that 100 Thieves shoots up the standings.
Yeah.
Long term, I don't know, because
Yeah.
we keep seeing this happen where imports come over to the LCS and they seemingly get worse over time. It kind of happened with Prince.
Mm-hmm.
Berserker doesn't look good right now. I'm really hoping that's not like Berserker's here for a little bit and it just slowly gets worse, because he's looked really good before.
Yeah.
But I'm worried that there's a chance that Chovy comes over and language barrier and communication becomes a big problem, and practice on the NA server becomes a problem, and we see him decline over time. And over the course of the year, those problems become more of an issue than his individual skill.
Uh-huh.
So, but I think right out the gate, 100 Thieves does shoot up the standings.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I think so. Like, Chovy could solo carry games for this team.
Mm-hmm.
So
Quit
then the
on
question,
Gen G.
that's the really interesting one.
Yeah.
Because I'm really high on Quid, and so are you.
Yeah. He's looked phenomenal this split.
Yeah. We both like Quid a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He was just player of the week. Is he good enough to compete on Gen G's level and keep them at a 7-1, or do they start to fall off? He's not Chovy.
He's not Chovy.
He's not, as good as he is, he's not Chovy level.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that is a tough one.
For me, okay. Do you want my answer?
I do. I really
Okay.
do. Yeah.
So for me, if I'm 100 Thieves and I'm Gen G, I'm saying no matter what, both ways. Even if I'm
Oh.
100 Thieves, I'm saying no to Chovy.
Interesting. Why?
Because I think Quid right now, the reason why he's performing so well is because he's come into his own.
Yeah.
And it's more because of the environment that he's in. It seems a lot more relaxed. He's a young guy, and he just looks like he's having so much fun. I feel like if he went back to LCK, you know, he might not have been, or if he's like, I feel like the environment has helped Quid, and like you said, it would hinder Chovy long term.
Yeah.
And so, like, if I'm 100 Thieves, I'm moving forward with like Quid and hoping that he does just become like a Chovy. You know, obviously he's not gonna reach Chovy's level, but
Probably
someone
not.
that could compete on the international level with some of these other mid laners.
So what do you think happens to Gen G if they have Quid?
I think Gen G gets worse for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like Quid would probably, because you look at a lot of the young mid laners in the LCK, like you look at like you know, Saytab or like you know some of these rookies, Bulldog, yeah, right? Like Bulldog, even on KDF right now on a solid team, he's definitely not their best player.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like Quid is more or less on that level, probably a little better. But it'd be tough for Gen G to have a Chovy level player, like one of their core pieces, and then they go to Quid.
Yeah. Here's the other interesting part of it, though. Does Quid going to Gen G, does he level up to the point where he's
a Chovy level player?
You have Pays come in over Ruler, and everyone's like, oh, Gen G's cooked. And then Pays is one of the top ADCs in the LCK in his rookie. He sets records his rookie split.
Yeah.
And he's one of the best AD carries in the world.
Yeah.
So even if Quid leaves for a bit and then he comes back, do we have enough faith in the Gen G ecosystem and training that we think Quid becomes the next like Pays of the mid lane?
Yeah, that's a good point too. I didn't even think about that. I was off the top of my head, I was thinking, like this is a good trade for both teams. You know, if these guys just traded, like, okay, it's not a good trade for both teams, but
no.
But it's definitely a little one-sided. Yeah. 100 Thieves isn't losing that trade by any means, but yeah, that it's interesting because Quid really was the piece that would have taken Chovy's spot if he never moved to LCS. So just seeing how Quid's been performing in the LCS, like what if Like that was like the premise of this. Like, what if, you know?
Yeah. So I think
And I feel like
the
it's
easy answer to this is that 100 Thieves gets better and Genji gets worse.
Yeah.
And that's pretty obvious. And then the harder part of it is, does Quid like grow enough over time that Genji is actually fine?
Mhm.
And does Chovy struggle enough, or does he struggle at all? Does it actually matter at all? Is he like so good that it actually doesn't matter that
Yeah.
he's playing in NA, that it actually starts to not become as like fruitful over time?
Mhm.
And that's a lot harder of a question. But I think
Yeah.
the easy answer that I'm going to give you is that 100 Thieves gets better and Genji gets worse.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I agree with you on that one.
And that's where I'm going to leave it before I stick my foot in my mouth even farther than I already have.
Hey, all hypotheticals. All hypotheticals. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just a fan. I don't know anything. I've never played Pro League. I've never been a coach. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's a hypothetical. We're having fun.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I don't really have anything else. I do have one last little thing if you want to do it. I know we're coming up on time a little bit here, but
yeah,
it depends on how quick you think we can run through it. But it's a team builder challenge where we go back and forth picking guys.
Oh, interesting. I say just in terms of keeping this not from going way too long, let's save that for another time. Are you down for that?
Yeah, and here I'll give you the rundown really quick.
Sure. Yeah.
So you can prep throughout the week. All right.
Okay.
We're drafting a team of 5 current players who have never won Worlds, and you're only allowed a max of 3 LCK and LPL players combined.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the team and we're trying to draft a team that will win Worlds out of players that hasn't won Worlds.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I like that. So here's what we'll do. Here's how we'll finish off this episode is you have that to look forward to for next week.
Mm-hmm.
And next week we'll come back. Maybe we'll take some notes and stuff over the next week and figure out our drafts. And then sometime next episode we'll do this draft.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Cool. Leave it a little cliffhanger, a little reason to come back next week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So if you're interested in hearing what crazy picks we make, come back next week. And we'll let you see them. Thank you everyone for tuning in to episode, what is it? Episode 6?
Episode 6, dude.
Episode 6 of All Chat. As always, you can find us at All Chat LOL pretty much everywhere. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple Music, all those good places. We're on YouTube. Check out the long form content. Check out the shorts. We're on Instagram. We post stories there sometimes. We upload our reels there sometimes. We're on TikTok. We're on YouTube Shorts. Those ones are starting to gain a little bit of traction, which is really nice. Shout out to everyone who's been watching those. That's been really great for us. TikTok, especially recently, we've been starting to get some engagement there, which has been super great. If you want to reach out to us, if you want to talk to us at all, DM us on Instagram, comment on TikTok, comment on YouTube Shorts, comment on Instagram, anywhere, comment on the YouTube videos. We try and respond to as many as we can, as many as we see. We really appreciate all your guys' engagement so far, and super grateful we're being able to do this.
It's by the fans, for the fans. We'll see you guys next week.
Holy shit! Holy shit!